We've looked at using an IES file to exactly correspond to an existing lighting fixture in the real world. But we don't always need that, and if we're working on a film or something like that, it might not really be important to be physically accurate. So we can play around with different types of light distribution pattern. So I'll go ahead and select the light and go to the Modify panel. Once again, we'll take a look at different distribution types. So scrolling back up here, at the very top, general parameters, light distribution type. So we've seen photometric web, and there are others here. The default is uniform spherical, and I'll choose that uniform spherical. You'll notice that it suddenly became a lot brighter because it took the intensity value from that IES file that we had, and now it's being spread over the entire scene rather than just focused in on the one picture on the wall. So uniform spherical behaves like an omnidirectional light source. So tell you what, I'm going to make this bigger so the panels won't jump around as much. So here we go. We've got uniform spherical, and that's just going to shine light in all directions equally. And if I turn my shadows back off again and do a render, it's probably going to be too bright, but there you go. You can see that light's shining equally in all directions. We also have uniform diffuse, and that's a bit confusing because you would think uniform spherical and uniform diffuse would be the same, but they're actually not. Uniform diffuse is a hemisphere, and you can kind of see that here. There's no light on this side of the room because my light is pointed in this direction. So the negative Z direction of the light is its sort of hot area. So uniform diffuse is hemispherical. So this should really say uniform hemisphere. See what that looks like in a render. So there's no shadows being cast. We do have final gather on, however, so we're getting some splash on the other side of the room. Uniform diffuse is good for downlights and uplights, so you don't need to worry about rotation angles or anything like that. You just drop a uniform diffuse lamp in there and you're good to go. Finally, we also have spotlights. And we're going to spend a whole video looking at spotlights. But for now, I can just turn that on. You can see we're getting a spotlight on the wall. This is similar to what I had with the IES file, because the IES files I was using were for spotlights. But here we have control over it in a way that we would never have with the IES file, and we could tweak it to get a specific artistic effect. Whereas with the IES file, we're locked into whatever the photometric properties are in the real-world lighting situation. Good, so those are your different types of distribution type. You've got IES, uniform spherical, uniform diffuse, which is hemispherical, and finally spotlight.